Hi, this is Scott with eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at and installing our Demco braking system for coaches with air brakes for our 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500. The nice thing about this brake setup is it's going to have everything you need to get you set up for flat towing if your RV has air brakes. It's going to have the piston that goes onto your brake pedal and then connects a cable down to the floor, and that is going to actuate your brakes. Another nice thing about it is also going to include the wire setup that is going to also signal to your RV and let you know what your brake system is doing while you're driving your coach. Here's what it looks like when it's actuated. As you can see, it automatically kicks on your brakes. It is going to be a proportional braking system, so however hard you're pushing on your brakes up in your RV, that's how it's going to respond back here at your vehicle. So basically, if you're going down the road and you just barely touch your brakes, this is going to basically give it the same amount of brakes that you're giving it up there. Your kit is going to come with your wireless receiver, and this is going to be hooked up in the cab of your coach. And what this is going to do is anytime you're applying your brakes back on your RV, it's going to let you know that your brake system is working back there in your truck. So it's going to show you that. And one of the nice things about this is it is wireless, so you're going to have your transmitter in the back in your truck that you're towing on your flat tow, and it's going to have your receiver up here on the dash, and it's a pretty nice setup. So if you're thinking about doing a flat tow, there's quite a few things you're going to need. You're going to need your base plate kit, and that's going to be what hooks up to your tow bar. You're going to need your tow bar system, which we have here. That's an absolute must. You're going to need your battery disconnect, which disconnects your battery while you are flat towing. And you're going to also have to have a braking system, whether that's air or electric. This one runs on air, so that's the system we have installed on this one. Another thing you're going to need is also your safety cables. You got these attached down here. We're going to need those, so we have those. And then you're also going to need your diode wiring. What that's going to do is going to make all of your lights work in the back that you're going to have to keep it legal, and also you have your indicators in the back so the people behind you can see, and that's what we have plugged in right here in the front. Installation is pretty tricky. It's going to take you some time to get all of the components installed. So if it's something you really don't feel like installing yourself, you can take a look at our dealer locator and get something set up locally so you can get it done. Or if you feel like installing it yourself, you can stick around, watch our video, and we'll help you get it installed. Since our truck has an electronic brake system, it doesn't have any vacuum lines we're going to hook to at all. So what we do is in our kit, we have a plug, and we're just going to put that into 2 inches of hose that we cut off the hose that was in our kit. So we just get that put in place. We'll take our piece of tube that we have plugged, and we'll put that on our vacuum portion. I'm just going to basically plug that off since we aren't using that. Now we have for our exhaust port, we're going to have a plug for that as well. We're just going to put the rubber plug that comes in our kit and push that down as far as we can. Now we'll take our acorn nut that comes in the kit and just thread that onto that. Decided on a place we're going to put our control module. Right here looks like a good spot for us. It's going to allow us to run our lines down and through where we want them to go. It's out of the way. It's not interfering with anything. So we went with this position here. We just put a little bend in our mount, and we ran a pilot hole on each of these. Now I'm just going to come through with a self-tapper. To start our installation for our battery switch, we have it mounted up here. You always want to find a good location that's as close to the battery as you can get. They say maximum about 8 inches away. So we have ours set up right here against our firewall, and that's going to give us good access to our factory ground along with our positive terminal where we're going to make our connections. We have our positive cable. We're going to end up removing this post down in here. So we're going to start by removing this nut that connects to this plate. We'll take a 10mm and back off our terminal that is on our post. Now we'll lift our plate up, pull off our terminal that goes to our post. Now we have our positive terminal, and we need to be able to get this to go back down in here and sit flat. As you can see, this little portion is going to get in the way. We are going to cut off our jump start tab because it comes down really close to where our connections come together. So I'm just going to come across this and get this out of the way so we have no way for it to coming in contact with our connections we're about to put on. Now we'll take our cable that is marked battery post. With these, you always want to make sure the stickers are in the right location, so refer to your manual and kind of look at it and make sure everything as far as stickers are in the right place before you get it hooked up. Just kind of verify. Now on the GMs, they have a nice little place where we can just pop this on, and it is kind of slotted, almost like it's made for this, so that fits rather well right there. We're going to take the nut that we took off over here, we're going to use that right here. We'll just get that started down. In our kit, we have a short bolt and we have star washers on it. We're going to put a star washer under the bottom, one on the top, and we just connected the other wire we had off to our plate. Now we're going to follow that up with the nut from the kit, and we're just basically directly bolting it to this plate. Now we'll come back through and we'll tighten that up. Now we have our white wire that comes off of our solenoid. We're going to strip off a bit of wire off the end. We have a larger ring terminal that does not come in the kit. If you need a larger one, you can get these here at eTrailer. And what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to double this over just a little bit. That gives me a little more to work with. Now we'll just crimp it into place. Okay. Make sure we have a good connection, which we do. Now we'll just run our white wire over here where we have a factory. We had our factory post here, and this is our ground post. And we'll tighten this down, and this is going to give us a really good factory ground location. Now you will need to trim out some pieces of plastic on the inside of the box. Like right here, you'll have a flat part that comes up. If you just snip it down the sides and then bend it, you'll be able to pop that. Right here you have one, and right around here where the ends of our terminal come together, you'll have to trim a piece of that out, and then everything will fall into place. Now once you get that, just keep test fitting it until you get it right. But you'll want it to be able to click down front and back nice and tight, be able to close up, and you have just your wires coming out of the back of your box. Now we got our line that's going to be for our switch that comes off of our solenoid. It's going to have our fuse holder on it already all installed. So we've got it run through. We ran it up in behind our firewall. Did pop out this plastic plug and ran it up under here. So that's going to help keep it down and in place. Ran it over under where our coolant bottle is, down, and now we're going to come back down through here. We're going to find a grommet, and then we're going to run it up in through our firewall into the interior of our vehicle. Now we went ahead and pulled our wire through. Now we need to, and all I really did is just use a piece of airline hose and just tape my wire to it and pull it through the dash. We had to drill a hole in the dash just enough to get our wires through, and this is going to be for something else, so we're leaving this in. Now we need to decide where we want to put our button. You want to make sure you have good access to where you're going to be able to put it in and be able to thread it on. and also be able to plug it in. So right here, we have a nice spot. It's out of the way. They're not going to be hitting it with their legs or anything. This part right here, I think is where we're going to put it. So that way it's out of the way, but still accessible. And another nice thing with this panel is, this is our fuse panel. So I can remove this and just do our hole outside of our vehicle. So that'll save some mess. And also I can just tuck some of the wire up in the back of here when I'm done installing it. So that way if they need to take their panel off, they'll be able to still leave their button plugged in and still access their fuses. Now we're just going to take our step bit and I'm just going to keep checking it like this. Take a little bit out of the back. And check it. You can go a little more. Now we have it brought out to the size we like. Now we can get our button popped in and thread our nut onto the back. Now we separated our wires out of the sheathing for our gray wire. We have a red wire and a black wire. We're going to go ahead and get both of these with our butt connectors on. Just crimp them in place. Make sure you have a good connection. And do the same with your red one. Okay, now we have our plug-in, and this was pre-stripped. It just was separated, so you just pull off your ends. Now our black wire is going to go to our blue wire. We'll just get that put in place. Push it in as far as you can, and crimp it down. Now we'll do the same with our yellow wire. We'll tuck our extra wire down in behind our panel, so that way if they need to pull off their panel, they'll have the extra wire to move it out of the way. Now with that all tucked away, we'll plug in our button. You want to make sure you have the little notch. That's where we're going to lock it in place, and we have our lock side. Click it into place. Now that we have it all clicked in place, we'll just push our wires behind our panel and put our panel back in place. Now we'll install our fuse that comes in the kit. And this is a 7.5 amp fuse. Get it installed in our fuse holder. Press down in place, cover it up. Now we can test our switch. And we hear the click out there, so it is working. Now we have our accessories on, so that means our switch has our battery plugged in. Now I'll turn off our accessories. I'll hit our switch. Hit our button. Now we have no accessories and nothing comes on, so we are good to go. Now we went ahead and got our cylinder put in place. We have it where it sandwiches around the pedal, up the arm of the pedal, and kind of midway up. You don't want to go too high or too low with it. You want to make sure it has enough leverage. And now you can see we have our plate where our cable is connected. And we have 3 screws that go into our floorboard here. And we want to make sure that we have that fairly straight when we have our cable set up. And we want to have it just a little bit of a play in it at first. when you do get this up and running and we get air and everything running to it and we test it, we want to make sure that we come back through and check this again and check it for operation and run our system a few times, because this will probably need to get readjusted, this cable, after we run it a few times, because it may get a little cable stretch. As you can see, you do want a little bit of play, and when our pedal comes down, you want it to kind of swoop up like that a little bit, just so it has a little angle for adjustment. Other than that, that looks pretty good. Now we have our line coming in from the hole that we have in our firewall. And we just want to, you don't want to have this too tight against this, because you're going to want to have some movement. I like to push it up and loop it up and give it enough play where it has some movement and you've got a little extra line. Now when we cut our line, we want to use a line cutter. You want to get it in your cutter nice and straight as you can, and one smooth cut. Now one thing with this, you want to make sure that it's nice and flat across. You want it square, and if it's not, just go ahead and cut off another small portion until you have a nice square edge. Now we'll just take our line and we will push it into our fitting, give it a nice firm push, pull it back and forth, and we have a good connection there. Now up front at our control module, we have our line routed where we want it to go, hidden behind, and run up to our control box. Now we do have a clean, nice cut put on there. Now we can plug our line in to our box. This one is upside down. You can't see which ones are which on this one, but this one is our out. So this is the one we're going to run to. This other one is going to be to our coach or our RV. So this line will be coming from the front of our vehicle. We have our Demco wireless coach link. What this is going to do is mount up under our dash and be hidden. This is going to transmit a signal from this to our coach. So this is going to tell us what our brake system is doing remotely. So what we're going to do is we'll get this wired up to our wires that we have ran in underneath of our dash. We're going to take our white wire and run it to our brown wire. We do not want to take these tips off. We want to leave those. And connect that. Now we have our red wire that comes from under our hood. And this does come in the kit, so we will get this one crimped together. Now that will go to the red wire from our transmitter. Make sure we have a good connection there. We have a white wire that we had here in the shop, and we just ran it through, and this is going to be our ground. We're going to go ahead and get a butt connector on this. Get that connected. Now we'll take our blue wire and run that to our white wire that's going in for ground. Now we'll get that crimped in place. Now we'll just come back through and get all of our wires tucked away and put up, and that'll do it for the inside of our vehicle. Now with our bumper off, we'll give you a brief overview real quick. We do have our breakaway switch installed. We did have to find a good piece of metal to connect it to back here behind our bumper. So we did have to take a notch out right here. This is an absolute necessity. You have to have this. Over here, we have where our 7-pole is going to be connecting, and we also included our air inlet right here. What we did with that is just drill a hole in our mount so that we can use it to mount everything all in one little area right here. So that makes it a little bit cleaner. We did cut our holes out where our tow bar base plates are going to pop through. Now we're going to get ready to hook everything up, and we'll start getting our bumper put back together. Now with our bumper sitting back in place, we still have to come back through and tighten everything down, but we have it loosely in place, and just bolted in a few spots to hold it. We have our wires coming out the front, and we will be getting those hooked up shortly, so we'll just leave those be. Now for our air line is going to come in here. What we're going to do is we've got our line coming down from the front. Now I just want to leave a little bit extra so I have room to route it. So what I'm going to do is take my cutter and get a nice cut on that. Make sure it's nice and square, nice clean. We can get the rest of our line out of our way. Underneath we have our swivel fitting. We just want to take our line, push it in. You'll feel a stop, push it harder, and then it will seat in. Now we did leave a little extra line so we have a little bit of play in it. You don't want to have it really tightly run. You want to have a little bit of play in there. Now we have our black wire that runs off of our breakaway switch. We have it run over. We came up with it, ran up through. Now we came up here with it, and we have our control box here. What we're going to do is we've got a butt connector on, or a wire to that. We're just going to get that crimped together. Now we'll take our heat source and heat up our butt connector, and we'll get that shrunk into place. Our other black wire coming off of our control box is going to be a ground. So we're just going to put on our ring connector. Get that crimped in place. Make sure it's good and solid. We'll take our self-tapping screw and ground it right here to our body. Now the white wire we have coming out of our dash, going all the way over, is going to be the wire for ground that comes out of our transmitter. So what I'm going to do is, this is supposed to be run directly to the negative on the battery, so we have our negative terminal over here. I'm going to take our ring terminal that I've already checked to make sure it fits that. I'm going to get it crimped in place. Now we're going to attach that right here directly to our battery. For our power wire that comes off of our breakaway switch, we have it run up through over here by our battery on the passenger side. Now we had to add a little bit of an extension on it. You may need to as well, depends on where you set your switch up. So now I have a fuse holder. I'm just going to cut that in half, strip off both ends. Take one of our larger yellow ring terminals and get it put in place and crimp it. We have our wire coming from our breakaway switch, and we also have our wire coming out of our dash that has to go to power. So what we're going to do is put those together, and we're going to crimp those together with a heat shrink butt connector. Get those crimped down tight. Always want to make sure you have a good connection, and you do. Now we'll take our fuse holder, put it into our butt connector, and we'll crimp it in place as well. Now we'll come back through and with our heat source, heat this up and shrink it into place. Just want to make sure you get all the bubbles out of it. You can kind of watch them come out of it. And we're looking for a little bit of gel to come out of the end. And that'll give us a good seal. Take both of these and we'll hook these directly to our positive terminal of our battery. Now we can install our 10 amp fuse. All right, every RV is a little bit different. Main things you want to look for is your supply line, which we have here. This is going to be our brass connection. This one runs into our main line. It runs to our main tanks for our brakes. Now we teed off of that and we ran all the way back to where our pump is, and we ran to the tank Now here we have our metered line, and this you can see where the green line is. We also teed off into this and ran back to our tank. Now we're back here where we have our tank, and it's going to go right here is going to be from our supply. This is the air coming into this tank itself. And we have our line that comes out of the bottom of this up to the tank. Now what that does is it supplies air to here. Our metered air is going from up here in the top. You can see this line. This is where our metered air is running into, right here. Now we have our air line out. Now this air is going to be running back, all the way back to our fitting that is going to be connecting to the front of the truck that we're going to be flat towing. Now we have our outlet for our air. This is going to be a quick disconnect style and brass. We have it running out on the driver's side. We have it also, our other connection running out of our truck that's going to be pulled also comes out on the driver's side. Now it's going to come with these little dust boots, this little black dust boots. You want to keep these. You do want to always cover this up when you're not using it. That's going to keep dirt and debris out of your fitting and keep it in really good shape. And that was a look at our Demco air brake system for coaches with air brakes for our 2025 Chevy Silverado 1500. I'm Scott with eTrailer, and thanks for watching.